Show here on WTTF, Cool FM 93.3 and WTTF.com. Coach, we're talking a little bit here about, the trials and tribulations of being a head football coach. Our guest will be joining us after a bit, Coach Steve Gilbert. He's been through the trenches. He's offered some wisdom to you, but also jabs at you a little bit to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, during the break we were talking there about, our linemen being young. We just got to grow them up. Yeah. And Northwood had, I think, 23 seniors and 32 juniors.
That is crazy. I mean, I've never heard of a roster like that before.
I don't. It takes time. But yeah, I was joking at Steve Gilbert, who will be on the show here in a little bit. He's been a head coach for 30 plus years, and he sleeps at night now because he's not. And last week he comes over to me, and I'm upbeat for practice, ready to roll, having a good day, and he comes over and puts his hand on my shoulder and goes, "Hey, Coach Goff, did you realize that our guards don't even shave yet?" And he kind of smirks and laughs and walks away, and I'm yelling at him, "Hey, do you want me not to sleep at night, Steve?" And he's just chuckling,
Well, he's probably getting back. Whoever razzed him like that.
No doubt.
The circle is coming complete and it's ended up on you.
Payback, you're right.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's talk about last week. We discussed that. Let's talk about this week. On the road again, not near as long of a trip this time, just across the state to take on the Malone Pioneers, a team we opened up with the triple overtime game up there at Foster Stadium last year. Talk a little bit about Malone this year. They fell last week 38-14 to the NCAA Division II runner-up last year in Wayne State.
Yeah, I tell you what, Malone they played a great venue. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better venue there at the Hall of Fame Stadium. And Malone's opened the season up with three tough opponents. They've had Saginaw Valley, Hillsdale, and Wayne State.
Sure.
They only played 3 games. The Saginaw Valley game, they fought. The final score was something like 27-16. Hillsdale, got after them a little bit, and then Wayne State got after them a little bit. But, what I'm impressed with about Malone is they play hard. They're not laying down for anybody. They're not backing down from anybody. They play extremely hard. And, hey, everybody's going to bring a great game against Tiffin. That's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So, in preparation for them, we got to go out there and have a great week of practice and, just know that this is a game we're going to be in for a dogfight for. But, this is a game that, hey, we expect to win. And I told my guys today, hey, we're going to go over there and play hard, and we're going to win this football game. And same thing we always talked about, though.
Sure.
You can't turn the ball over.
Sure.
You got to stop the run. So, I think Malone in some ways are a lot like us right now, and they're ready to get their season started in the right direction. They've had 3 tough opponents. We had 3 tough opponents. I mean, Northwood was a good program. And, so now, it's all about who's going to make the big plays, who's just going to not turn the ball over. And who's going to be fundamentally sound? Who's going to do what I talked about a while ago and make sure that they win every individual battle?
Exactly. Exactly.
And play the next play. So, on film, we're still breaking them down a little bit. It's early in the week. We don't finalize that game plan until about Tuesday afternoon, but. I see some areas that they are better than they were a year ago, and then I see some areas where they're playing some young guys too. Their offensive line is young, a lot like ours.
Absolutely. You look at their numbers. It's hard to get a just looking strictly at the paper and the ink on the paper, the numbers. It's kind of hard to get a feel of what they do on offensive. I mean, they don't have big numbers rushing, don't have big numbers through the air. I mean, what's your feel from what you've seen on them so far?
Well, you're kind of right. I think they're trying to find, who they are right now. I mean, they run the triple option out of the shotgun. They like to throw play action a lot. They got about 2 or 3 backs that have touched the ball, and they got about 3 or 4 receivers that have touched the football. But they're still trying to find their rhythm as well, and you can tell that on film. But I think they want to be option first is what they look like, and that's what they claim themselves to be.
And then, we talked about the time of possession difference against Northwood last week. Through 3 games for Malone, their total time of possession is within a minute of each other for the entire cumulative of 3 games. So what a difference. I mean, how can you use that in any way as you game plan, or is that it's hard for me to fathom something being that close after 3 games.
Yeah, you gotta put long drives together.
Sure.
We
play keep away.
Exactly. I mean, and every goal we'd like to, or going into our weekly game, one of our goals is to have 3 quick scores and 3 long drives.
Sure.
Obviously, if you're doing that, you're scoring a lot of points. You're probably going to win. Doesn't always happen, but the more important thing is put those long drives together, keeps your defense off the field, and you get points at the end of those drives. We've had some long drives in our season, and we just haven't got points at the end of it.
Yeah.
You know, I think we had a 14-play drive 2 weeks ago. This past week we had a 10, and we had another 11. So, you know, we got to get points off those drives, because then, you know, everybody feels good. We scored.
Absolutely.
Defense is on the sideline. They're rested up. You know, but, you know, sure, you know, we got to protect the football, and therefore we'll have longer drives, and therefore we'll have our time of possession that we want. But there's nothing wrong with, you know, scoring really fast too.
Sure,
I mean,
absolutely. Points are points. Take them how you can
I
get.
have been in games before where we've lost time of possession, but we've won big. You know,
Yeah,
so
for sure, for sure. We'll talk a little bit about Malone on the defensive side of the ball. What do they like to do over there?
Defensive, they're a 3-5-3. You know, they run the stack defense. They mix up their coverages. They play some cover 3. They play some cover 2 and some cover 4. You know, they're going to bring some pressure at us. We know that, especially with a young offensive line. But you know, I feel pretty good about our blocking scheme. I feel pretty good about our protection right now. And we know where they're going to come from if they are going to blitz us. But, you know, they like to get teams in 3rd and long and then walk everybody down on their face. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're pretty sound. You know, they pursue the football very well. They play hard. I tell you, they really do. I'm impressed with their defense because they fly around to the football.
One thing I've noticed about this Malone team is that they've been very heavily penalized. They've had double-digit penalties in 2 of their first 3 games. So does that speak to their youth, you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, possibly. I mean, I still think we're a very young football team.
Oh, absolutely. You don't have to think that, 'cause you are.
We've hardly had any penalties all season.
Yeah,
I think last week was our high with 5. You know, and you know, 2 of those were on special team clips, which you know how that goes.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's was the case, but you know, definitely youth can cause, you know, a lot of penalties and not being disciplined. And, you know, we preach to our guys on and off the field about being disciplined and paying attention to detail. And if you're not doing those things, then, yeah, you're going to have a lot of flags thrown.
This game, I believe, is a 1 o'clock kickoff. 1:30 the last couple of weeks. I believe this is a 1 o'clock kickoff. Our pregame coverage will start at 12:30 on our sister station, Coast Country 100.9 WMJK out of Sandusky. Looking at the GLIAC this week, as we said, you know, you guys and Malone both come in winless here in the conference. Ashland sitting at the top of our South Division standings at 3-0, and Finley right behind them at 2-1. And then Ohio Dominican, Grand Valley's defense almost caught up to them last week. Ohio Dominican about outscored them.
Yeah, I think what was that, 46-41?
46-42, I believe.
42. Yeah, I mean that was obviously a gunfight right there. You know, hey, Grand Valley, you know, they're scoring all those points, but you know, defensively they just have to tighten down a little bit. You know, and ODU, they're a good program too.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been around for a while and been recruiting hard. But you know, I tell you what, I'm not surprised with Ashland either. Lee Owens does a great job there. Mm-hmm. You know, for some reason, you know, they always get up to play against Wayne State. That's 2 years in a row. I think they've upset Wayne State. And then, you know, somewhere towards the end of the season, you know, last year is kind of like, you know, what happened to Ashland? They're a great football team. I don't know if that's will be the case with them this year. We'll have to wait and find out. But, you know, they've got a good unit coming back, and, you know, they're doing a great job over there at Ashland. So that doesn't surprise me. And then with Finley, you know, Finley's got a great quarterback and tailback.
Sure,
you know,
absolutely.
I haven't seen them on film this year, but last year, you know, if you could stop those two, you got a chance to win that football game. But they're a tandem right there. It's tough.
Easier said than done.
Yes.
Take a look at the GLIAC schedule this week. Finley will be hosting Notre Dame at 12 noon on Saturday. Northwood will be home against Wayne State. That's a huge matchup in the conference as well.
That'll be a big game. And
then our Dragons will be at Malone with a 1 o'clock kickoff. Northern Michigan at Hillsdale at 1:30. And then Grand Valley State at Michigan Tech at 6 o'clock at night. Another huge one.
Yeah.
Ashland hosting Lake Erie at 7 p.m. Ohio Dominican and Walsh at 7 o'clock. And then another good one to finish out the schedule for the weekend. Ferris State at Saginaw Valley State at 7 o'clock on Saturday night as well.
Yeah, you know, Saginaw lost a few offensive linemen, it looks like, on film. I mean, they were very dangerous last year and powerful. And they're still ranked. They're nationally ranked right now. So they're a good program. But that'll be interesting to see the outcome of that game, because I think Ferris is doing some good things up there too.
You know, a couple looking at the scores from the Division II last week, and I had to bring up one matchup of 2 top 25 teams. C's number 18, Valdosta State, Coach Goff's alma mater, fall to West Alabama, who's ranked number 11 in the country, 39-28. So sorry about hearing that.
Well, hey, that's fine. You know, hey, West Alabama's been good for a couple years now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and you know, Valdosta State, I don't know. I hadn't seen them on film. I have no idea what they're doing offensively or defensively, but they usually have some really good players down there. So,
speaking as a former
you know,
player.
I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, you know,
It's just funny. Well, Coach Gilbert's sitting here. Why don't we go ahead and step aside and take another break, and we'll come back and talk to Coach Gilbert, a highly decorated high school coach here in the state of Ohio and now on the Tiffin University Dragon staff. So we're going to step aside and take a break, and we come back more with Coach Gary Goff and Coach Steve Gilbert joining us right here on the Gary Goff Show on WTTF, Cool FM 93.3 and WTTF.com.